Misibis Bay is a beautiful 5-star resort, nestled on the shores of Cagraray Island in Bicol. Today, me and Toni will give you a closer look at this location. We will give you our honest feedback on what we thought of the room, the food, and the service. We will give you both the good and the bad, so that you can decide for yourself whether Misibis Bay Resort lives up to its 5-star rating, and whether or not you should consider Misibis Bay Resort for your next travel destination. This is pretty much what it's been like for the last week since we got here. Rain, 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 and more rain. We had a great stay at Proxy Hotel in Legazpi, and tomorrow was going to be my birthday. So we wanted to check out a high-end luxury resort we'd heard about online. So with the help of Toni's cousin Jake, we were off on the 1-hour road trip to Misibis Bay Resort. Tell us where we're going.
We're going to Misibis. It's raining.
Of course, one has to find ways to entertain themselves on a long journey. The rooms are very spacious, with one of the biggest beds I've ever seen. Big nightstands on each side, there's lots of room for your books and gadgets. Plugs are conveniently located throughout the room, and all plugs are international sockets. Of course, the centerpiece of the room was the giant bathtub. Perfect for those who want to relax with a nice bubble bath. Toiletries and towels are all included, and will get refreshed each day by housekeeping.
So we will be staying here for 2 days. 2 days! Oh my god, ang laki ng pimples ko, guys. Don't mind it. But we will stay here for 2 days. And it's really nice. It's really nice. And there's a lot of things you can do here, like water activities. You can also do karaoke, or pwede rin kayo maglaro ng billiards or anything. There's a lot of things to do. I haven't checked what is our breakfast for today, but we'll see. We'll check that later. Right now, bye-bye muna. I'll just eat. I'll show you the breakfast, what I've got. So, love you.
Breakfast is buffet style with local Filipino flavors like garlic rice, pancit, and fish. You will also find fresh juices in the morning, as well as a pastry and bread bar. They also have an egg station where you can request fried, scrambled, or egg omelette, as well as meats and sausages.
So this is my breakfast: bihon, adobo, and bangus, rice, pancake, puto, and toasted. It's not really toasted, but yeah, whatever. And then sausage. And Mark has like a feast.
Oh, lots of egg.
Lots of egg. He likes eggs. That's why he turned into eggs.
What?
How was your food?
Real good.
It's good. So we'll eat, guys. We'll eat our food.
And with that, we enjoyed our breakfast. A breakfast that was so good, in fact, that it made Toni do a little dance. And with that, it was time to explore the rest of the resort. And now it's time to give you our review and what we thought of Misibis Bay Resort. Misibis Bay Resort, is it worth it? Well, I said I'd give you the honest review, the good, the bad, and here's both, the good and the bad. First, the good. As you can clearly see, the resort is incredibly beautiful. It's quiet, secluded, and the staff are very friendly. The bad, and here's the issue, the resort goes for 20,000 pesos on most hotel sites. Booking.com currently has it listed for 18,000 pesos at the time of this video. That's a lot of money. And for that kind of money, you have a certain level of expectation that you would not have with another hotel at a lower price point. We have stayed at a number of great hotels on our travels and experienced some great places to stay and got some really great deals. So simply put, this resort is the most we've ever paid for a room in the Philippines. Full disclosure, we did get a deal on this room through Expedia, which I'll reveal in a moment, but it was still significantly more than we've paid for any other stay. So what were some of the issues? The first was a lack of room phone. It was the first hotel I've ever stayed at that did not have a room phone. Now there's a number you could call if you need housekeeping or room service, but that's making the assumption that you're a local resident with a local cell phone service plan. Personally, I don't bother getting a local SIM card when I'm in the Philippines, as most of what I do and what I need to do is done over Wi-Fi. So for international visitors such as myself who may not have a local phone service, this is a huge inconvenience. Next up were the maintenance issues. Our first morning there, we didn't have any hot water. No hot water for the shower. Now at some point during the lunchtime, we did notice the hot water came back up and running, and we didn't have a problem with it after that. I did speak to another guest who was in our building who had gone to the front office to complain about not having any hot water. Ironically, this gentleman was an American who also did not have a local cell phone and was somewhat miffed of having to walk to the front desk to complain about the fact there was no hot water in the building. The TV signal was sketchy and would kind of in and out, and likely related to that, the internet was pretty much non-existent for our entire stay, save for a few hours during the day when we were able to catch some service, but it was really spotty. We spoke to the staff about this, and apparently there was some issue with the provider they were using being able to provide dependable internet service. Overall, the resort was very beautiful, but it was obvious in some areas that it had not been maintained for a number of years. And issues with the hot water just showed that the management of Misibis Bay Resort had not put maintenance of the resort as a first priority. With respect to the cable and internet, the impression I got was that the staff knew this had been an issue for some time. Again, something that management of the resort considers as not a priority. All of these things add up to an overall guest experience and individually could probably be disregarded. But pair this all up with a few of the other things I'll mention next, and you get the impression that the guest experience is not the first priority of the management of the resort. Lastly, let's talk about the dining options. Breakfast was okay, but certainly the most basic of options, not an epic spread you would expect from a 5-star resort. I've had comparable breakfast buffets at budget hotels. The toaster was broken. The toaster itself worked, but the conveyor belt the toast normally rotates on was broken. So you had to stand there, put your bread on the thing, flip the bread and watch to make sure it didn't catch fire, like one guy did. Got a little smoke in there for a minute, which speaks to the maintenance issues again. I mean, it's a simple toaster. It could be easily replaced. Many items on the menu for lunch and dinner were unavailable. Now, I don't particularly mind if something's not available, but it should be clearly noted on the menu, perhaps with a sticker or something. There's nothing more disappointing than going through a menu, finding something that sounds delicious, or seeing a menu item that looks tasty, only to be told it's not available. Finally, and this was a nail in the coffin, being a Canadian, there was no bacon. Yes, you heard correctly, no bacon. Deal breaker. Now, I would like to suggest that some of this is probably related to the pandemic and the fact that the Philippines is only just reopened to international travelers, and maybe some resorts like this are now only just getting back up to speed. So was it worth it? I would suggest not. While the resort does go for upwards of 20,000 per night, we were fortunate enough to get a great deal on Expedia, and we ended up paying that amount for 2 nights, basically 10,000 pesos a night, about half price, which is about $250 Canadian. This is still a significant amount of money, and if you find a deal for less than 10,000 pesos per night, it might be worth it. But realistically, you can find as good, if not better, experience for the same price or less in other resorts. Overall, it was a great place. The staff were friendly, the location was beautiful, but we went into this knowing that it was a 5-star resort, getting what we thought was a great deal, expecting to be wowed, expecting to be blown away with the experience. And sadly, we just weren't. We just weren't wowed. Had this been a room at about 6,000 pesos a night, it would have been an average experience and we would have been happy with it. At the prices they were charging for the rooms, I don't feel like it's worth the extra price tag for the name, when the experience was average at best. All that being said, I would not consider it to be good value right now. I believe the resort has a lot of potential, and if they come up with some better promotions, more value, or even just fix some of the issues I've raised here, it'd be well worth the higher price tag.